Okay, so there is a clip in which Wimby pissed off some people. Okay, he really upset some people. There's two groups of people that are responding to this. Okay, there's the people that's highly upset, and then there's the people making fun of those people for being highly upset. And where do I land? Where I don't. You'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so we're gonna dive into this. We're gonna listen to what Wimby has to say about three things in particular. And what are those things? It's partying, drugs, and alcohol. Yeah, all those fun things. Like they're pretty fun. I'm just kidding. I don't know. They're a little fun. And he had a thought on it. So let's take a look at what Wimby has to say, and then we'll discuss why people are upset and how I personally feel about this. So let's go.
I just feel like I'm immune to like the things people try to tell me, oh, pay attention to this or watch out, all the bad things like,
Distractions.
distractions, exactly, like partying, like alcohol, drugs, whatever. Like, why would I ever do
You're
that?
just so focused on what it is that you desire.
Yeah, and also, I don't have nothing to compensate for because I choose to face all the like trauma, not really trauma because I've had a good childhood, but like all the things that we have inside of us.
All right, so as you can see, so a lot of people are probably wondering, if you haven't seen this clip, you're wondering, Clan, what was the problem? There was nothing wrong with what he had to say. Now, let me go ahead and say this. When it comes to Wimby, there is nothing wrong with not engaging in anything. There's nothing wrong with not engaging in partying, not engaging in drinking, not engaging in drugs or weed or whatever. Like, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm happy that, he is confident in himself and he, is confident in the decisions that he makes or whatever. Like, that's cool. Like, do your thing, right? But I think what really rubbed people the wrong way was when he started giving his reasons why, or more reasons why, or elaborating on his reasons why. To say, I don't want any distractions, I want to just focus on basketball, that's all I care about right now, that's one thing. But then when you start going into the category of, well, I have nothing to compensate for, well, I don't have any trauma, well, I'm not trying to make up for some loss that's in my life, that's when, or I'm not missing anything in my life, that's when you get to the category of possibly judging. And that's where I don't agree at all. So with these things, can you have unhealthy relationships to partying, drugs, and alcohol? Obviously, right? Like, obviously. It's very apparent that you can have a bad relationship with those things. But at the same time, you can also have a healthy relationship with those things. You can do things, just like anything, you can do it in moderation and be a fulfilling person and be fine. It's the same thing with something as small as video games, right? There's people that are gamers that have great lives and they feel fulfilled and they're fine and they're functioning adults. And then there's people that, have an issue with it. Like, or when it comes to drugs, would I say that, I don't know, Seth Rogen is less ambitious than Wembanyama? No, of course not. I mean, he'd be silly to say that. And all that dude does is smoke. So like, I just feel like it's a little bit of a misstep, or maybe it is a little bit of miscommunication. Someone said possibly something lost in translation. I don't think so. I think he's very articulate, and I think that there is some like underlying judgment that he has when it comes to that. Your reasons why is very important on where, like, essentially why you have a certain opinion, right? Like, your reason why is super important. Your underlying thinking is super important. And don't get me wrong, Wemby is like a kid, okay? He's a kid, and he's been balling his whole life. He's been told he's going to be a prodigy since he was like 14. He has successful parents. Like, he's going to be in a box. And a lot of NBA players are like this. Like Jason Tatum, when he was opening up the financial classes for poor kids and insinuating that, oh, they need this because they're poor, when in reality, rich people and poor people both make pretty bad decisions with their money. It's just that rich people have more of a safety net for the most part, right? Like, things like that. It's like these reasons why are kind of off. Even LeBron, he has certain opinions where it's like, okay, I like where you're going, but something's missing here. It's like this all the time with players, right? It's like this all the time. But your reasons why is important. So for instance, like I've been asked this before. Like I don't have any tattoos, right? Like I have no tattoos. And you know, my reason why would be, and this would be a less judgmental, and this is how I truly feel, is I don't really like needles that much. And also I can't think of something that's like cool enough to put on my body where it's like, I can see it every day. Like I would just get bored. Like I would just get bored with it. Now that's one reason why, and that's my reason why. But what if my reason why was, well, why would I do that? Like I care about my body. Like I cherish my temple. I cherish my body. I exercise. I eat the right things. Why would I do that to my body and put ink on my skin or put ink in my bloodstream? See, that's where it's like, okay, that's a little judgmental. Now you're making the assumption that people that don't, or people that get tattoos don't cherish their bodies, yada, 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 right? And I don't truly believe that. So I just think that I understand why people were upset by what he had to say. And I think it speaks volumes to how mature Wemby is as a person that people would get upset by this, right? Like, I mean, you can't just write him off because he is such a smart person. So when he says something like this, and there are people out there that do smoke or drink and party sometimes, it comes across like an attack on them because, like, you know, I look at these people, you know, some of these people, I look up to this dude. Like, he's very smart. He's very intelligent. And he's basically saying there's something wrong with me. And that's not necessarily the case. Now, can you have bad relationships with these things? Yes. But I don't think that's always the case. So those people that are making fun of, like, people that are, you know, upset by this, I feel like it's a little short-sighted, just a little bit. Like, I feel like not really looking at the full picture on why someone would be offended by it, because there's a lot of people that's like, well, if you got upset about this, then you do have a problem. And it's like, no, not necessarily, man. Like, not necessarily. It's the way it came across. And, you know, some people have said it's lost in translation. You know, some people have said, you know, it's miscommunication. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that it's just one of those things where, you know, he's not necessarily seeing the gray area, where it's something he's doing that's positive for him, but then kind of putting it off as, well, there's something wrong with it. And it's like, well, it's not necessarily something wrong with it. But I'm totally happy that he's like not doing anything. He's chilling. That's cool with me. But this definitely gave Duncan vibes. Hold on. Ew, dude. I had to, ew. I had a gnat in here, dude. I hate gnats. Yeah. Sorry. It definitely had kind of a Duncan vibe, where I always felt as if Duncan was kind of like, I don't know, a little judgy, just a little bit, just a little bit. That was just the vibe I always got from Duncan. I don't know, but hey, doesn't take away any of my love for Wemby. He seems like a really cool dude. All right, he's chill. But yeah. Oh, and another thing too. I want to address this. So there was also a group of people that were saying, well, he's like, people are just upset because he's disciplined, because they're not disciplined. So they're upset that he's disciplined. I don't really understand what they mean by that. Like, you can engage in things, party or whatnot, and still be disciplined. And I don't buy that at all, because no one was upset hearing that Wemby, now this is actually being disciplined. Like, no one was upset that Wemby, like, when goes to bed at like 9:30 or whatever and reads before bed. That's a lot of discipline to do that every single night. That's a really good habit. I don't think anybody like was against it or talked trash about him about that. So the discipline angle, this is something a little different. This isn't just that he's a disciplined person. I don't think people are getting triggered by that. So those are my thoughts on it. You know, like I said, your reason why is super important, and you know, you just gotta be careful sometimes. But I've always said this is a double-edged sword with Wemby. All right, he's gonna speak his mind, things gonna come out. He's super young, so we shouldn't expect or lean on any NBA player when it pertains to how to live like all of our lives. Not necessarily, you can take some things, right, like the discipline thing, as far as, you know, go to bed at a reasonable time, try to perfect your craft or whatnot. But, you know, you can't listen to absolutely everything, or there's nothing wrong with you going in a different direction. Also, too, this is the last thing I'll mention, okay? Like I said, I don't listen to NBA players a lot when it comes to like life advice or anything or wisdom. I think Wemby's a very smart kid, but I just don't. But when it comes to coaches, that's a little different. I feel like they've interacted with so many different people, understand so many different perspectives. I mean, they're just dealing with so many different ideas, and kids from different backgrounds, that I think that they have a better overall view of things like this. Because I think Popovich would say, oh, it's good that you don't do those things, but I don't know if Popovich would have the same view of there's something wrong with a young person or any person in general that would engage in anything like that. So so I'm used to more so taking words from coaches more than anything. But anyways, that's all I had to say. Sorry. I'll give it to you later. Like I said, still love Wemby. No big deal. Until next time, bye.